Good afternoon. Welcome to my show where you can learn how to take your life to the next level, how to improve yourself, how to get inspired and motivated by really life changing and truly inspirational stories of people just like yourself and also some really top leaders of the world. Today, I have two absolute gorgeous and amazing ladies who have a direct involvement with Healed Scars, a charity whose founder Evelina Chin I had last Friday at my show. Well, Friday is all about relationships, as you remember. And today I have two fabulous ladies, Maggie and Lucy, who actually will help us to learn more about how to overcome your trauma, your troubles, and your lack of confidence from abusive relationships and how to restart your life with healed scars. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming today. I so appreciate you and I so value your time. So I would like to start with helping you to introduce yourself and telling us more about who you are and how you're involved within the charity. So Maggie, would you like to start?
Good afternoon, and thank you so much, Olga, for giving us this opportunity to be with you and spread the word about healed scars and the mission that we set out to show out to everybody. So, I'm obviously Maggie. I work alongside other pain therapists to help people rebuild their lives again who've been affected by trauma and abuse. Having been affected that way myself, when I was younger, I was sexually abused as a child, and that led me to be involved in various toxic relationships. Unfortunately, I'd made bad choices due to the circumstances that I was in at that time, and now I help people rebuild their futures.
Wow, this is so powerful. Thank you so much. I must say, it's something what all of us need to be aware. And we're going to go into more details. We're going to go into more details about that. But Lucy, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us about your involvement with Heal Scars and a little bit about what you do?
Thank you, Olga. My name is Lucie Cunningham. I am one of the new trustees of the charity Healed Scars. I joined for my interest in empowering women. I have a background in being a charity leader for international women, and the mission of Healed Scars really spoke to me. In my previous experience, sometimes we dealt with ladies with major trauma and domestic abuse, and those were very memorable cases that shook our communities. And I'm so glad that Evelina Chin decided to set up this organization for women in the UK.
Which I must say, sure.
I help the organization with communications and media contact.
Which is wonderful. It's something what definitely each organization, not only Healed Scars, needs because it's a key to any business, right? So it's wonderful. But can I ask you, actually, ladies, this question? And I love how you, Maggie, mentioned that as you were abused as a child, so subconsciously, clearly, and I'm a mindset coach, so I know how it works, and I'm so passionate about this subject. But could you tell us more? Why do you think so many women suffer from doing the healthy choice of a partner in the future if they were abused as a child? And is there any cure? Is there anything what can be done about that? So even if they were abused before, they actually can overcome it. What you say about that?
Well, most definitely people can overcome it. I've done it myself. I've went from, being abused for probably about 5 years of my young life between the ages of 8 and 13. And I did make choices. I was involved in, as I said, toxic relationships, but I didn't seek that counselling and that help. I kind of went it alone. And in hindsight and looking back, it was probably tougher doing it on my own than seeking out that help. But there's so much help out there for people, and people don't need to go through all of this on their own. And that's what I love about the empowerment of Healed Scars. It allows people that have suffered from domestic abuse, trauma, who are violence survivors, really, and to help them rebuild their lives and giving them access, to various different services that are out there. And if I had had that way back then, I think I would have probably recovered in a completely different way. So nobody has to go it alone. Nobody is alone these days. There's help out there. And yeah, if I had done that, then that my life maybe would have been a bit different. But you know, my journey has taken me to where I am now. And okay, it's been a bit of a tougher journey, but I've got there. But people don't need to suffer so much on their own.
I love that. And I think this is so powerful actually when you say that. It's about having that guidance, it's about having that support, it's about having somebody holding your hand when you're in this situation. And actually, I was delighted to speak to other two ladies also from Healed Scars who are also on the calendar. And one of them said really, really powerful words. She said, it's about knowing when you actually are in toxic relationships, right? And very often you don't even know.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really interesting point actually, is people don't realise what they're in until they're not in it anymore. And I think that is really valuable. And, you know, supporting these women to even just identify that they're maybe in a situation that is harmful to them, and be able to guide them into a path that leads them onto that recovery.
Often. I was just doing my background work, and you could tell because we could hear ourselves. I just wanted to double check that we're definitely live, and girls, I'm pleased to say that we're definitely live and everything is working. By the way, everybody who is watching us right now, please do let us know where are you based, because we are not even in one location. Hence, we're doing these little technology things and technology connection right now and making sure everything works. So Lucie, I wonder, where are you based? Can you tell us more about where exactly are you located?
I'm personally located in Glasgow, but the organization was founded in Stirling, Scotland, and we reach out to women throughout the whole UK.
Wow, this is so powerful. So women across UK actually can get this help, not only local. How powerful is that? I really love that. And I also have a question actually, ladies, to you about what exactly spoke to you when it came to hearing about Evelina's mission. And by the way, those who haven't seen the video with Evelina Chin, who is the founder of Healed Scars, you can go to YouTube and find the video. You can just type Olga and Evelina Chin, and the YouTube video will come up. But she has a real story about how exactly and what happened to her life and why she decided to organize this charity, Healed Scars. But I would like to hear your messages, ladies. What exactly spoke to you so deeply that you decided to get involved? Because two of you have different journeys, you have different paths in life, and yet you found something in common. What was kind of magnetizing you to these organizations? So, Lucie, would you like to go first?
Yes, well, actually, among my friends, a couple of them have been through abusive relationships and have children um, with their ex-abusive partner. And we've noticed in the charity that abuse doesn't necessarily stop after you've left the home. The insults or the pressure through the children sometimes continue. And it's been very moving to listen to those stories. And you know, domestic abuse and trauma happen in all social circles. It's definitely not something related to being from another country or having a little income. It just is it's a plague. It's a plague, and it happens. And because the abuses often disconnect you from your family and from your friends, you no longer have a way to measure and to compare what's happening, you know, in healthy relationships and yours. So I have a lot of empathy and contact with people who've been through this, and I just wanted to make a difference.
You know what you're mentioning there really speaks to my heart when you say abusers, they disconnect you from the family members, disconnect you from friends. And I really would like to address this particular thing to everybody who's watching us right now. We need to remember that actually it is not that easy to recognize when you are abused, right? And many women and men suffer from these because they're not aware. They're simply not aware what is happening. But one of the almost like symptoms, I would like to call it that way, is when an abuser is that almost like overtaking your life and distancing you from your family and your friends, particularly by saying things like, oh, you shouldn't speak to your friends about our relationships, or you shouldn't disclose to your family what happens in our relationships. Because first of all, why wouldn't we, right? Of course, I wouldn't suggest you should disclose everything. There should be some things discussed only within the family, right? But if an abuser, if your partner is telling you to be overprotective of what happens, that means there is something they want you to hide. And the question is, why? Right? So I definitely would like to address that, because I want that to be like a really important point. And Maggie, what about yourself? How did you, I know you have obviously almost like direct reason why to be involved with Heal Scars, but what exactly clicked in your mind when you heard about Evelina, when you heard about her story, and you were like, oh, that's it, I need to be involved and I need to help them? What happened?
Do you know, I was introduced to Evelina through a mutual friend, Fran, who is also one of the trustees of Healed Scars and is also on our calendar. And Fran herself has been through different traumas. And when she spoke to me and asked me to speak to Evelina, and when I heard the power, the passion, the dedication and the commitment that Evelina has to supporting those women who have suffered with domestic abuse, then that it just kind of, it took to my heart, because as I said before, having been through that as a child of a mother who was part of that as well, because my stepfather was an alcoholic, and having been through all of that myself, wishing that she had had that easy access to support and guidance would maybe have made such a difference to her as well. And so seeing it from a child's point of view, and now also seeing it from an adult's point of view, Evelina's passion and commitment is just speaks volumes. And helping women have that freedom again, and the freedom to choose the simplest of life choices, like things like you were saying about the abuser has control, not just only about who you speak to, but what you should wear, like what you should do in the house, and control over who sees your children, massive control over all of your life. And it's not just about who you see, but it's everything about what you do as well. I think just raising that whole awareness that these women are not alone. These are women that no longer need to live in fear of, that constant control, the emotional abuse. Sorry, I get very emotional when I talk about it. And just building women's confidence back up again, and seeing the passion that comes from Evelina. Yes, I wholeheartedly wanted to be a part of that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. This is so beautiful. And thank you so much for being involved. And by the way, everybody who would like to find out more about Heal Scars and how exactly this organization can help those who are suffering from violent relationships, from toxic relationships, from domestic abuse. And let's remember, domestic abuse is not only beating, right? If somebody is not looking like they were beaten up, it doesn't mean they were not abused, right? It could be emotional abuse, it could be financial abuse, it could be sexual abuse, which you can't even see. So there's so many types of abuse, but there's an organization called Heal Scars, which actually can help those victims to rebuild their lives. And you can also find them on Facebook. I will share the link just here below. And also what actually this organization did, and I'm so proud of you ladies, because I know that you were part of this great campaign of building the calendar. Is it right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Miss January. The calendar is beautiful, and Vera, who was our photographer, has done an outstanding job of all the, it just looks absolutely amazing. So the calendar is not just to see us, our pictures. It's the money that is spent to buy the calendars and the way that money is going to be used. So yes, it was great fun doing the calendar. It was absolutely amazing. But it's the money from that's then going to be used to help, rebuild women's lives. That is just outstanding. So if you've not bought one and you would like one, the link is there for you to go and buy one. So please help us raise awareness and raise funds for this really, really amazing cause.
Oh, that will be beautiful. And when we had the interview with Evelyn, I actually went myself onto the website and I bought the calendar straight away. I was like, no, I am supporting this as well. So everybody should do that. And I wonder, Lucy, which month are you representing in the calendar?
I'm not, but I'm part of the campaign to raise awareness that we are doing this campaign and that the money will go to bring hope and to help women deal with the shame they've experienced. And, the therapy that women will get access to therapy faster than the normal services with long waiting lists. And the therapy indirectly benefits their children as well, because it's very hard to parent, but when you've had to flee and escape and hide, and you're basically sent to another side of the country to be safe, to not come across your former partner, and that your children and you still are safe. It's wonderful to have a support group through Healed Scars, but also access to wonderful therapists and counselors just like Maggie. And the campaign, the calendars, and general donations go to that purpose. Because at Healed Scars, we are aware that there are other charities helping women who have just left their home and need a safe place and need to find work. But we are a step further. We complement that. This is about rebuilding your life. This is about becoming employable again. This is about self respect and starting healthier relationships in the future. But it's also about loving yourself again. And it's about, refining, finding peace and a self acceptance. So you get to reset your life. You get a second chance at uh, being a woman, a mother, uh, you can reshape your life again, but this is a process and you need resources to go through that.
I love that. And thank you so much for sharing more about what's behind the calendar, because very often people think this is just a calendar, it's just another thing, but actually it's not. It is to raise funds to actually help more those people who were suffering from domestic abuse, from trauma, from neglect, from all those things which nobody wants to go through ever in their lives, for sure. But ladies, can we actually help our audience now to learn if somebody is in abusive relationship? So are part of contacting Heal Scars and a part of becoming a client, or contacting, reaching out and speaking to somebody from Heal Scars, how else they can help themselves in order to get through the challenging times of overcoming the abusive relationships, the lack of confidence, the lack of communication with people when abusers were distancing them with everybody and now they have no one to go to, right? The situation when they probably are in a self-blame mode. So do you have any tips you would like to share with our audience so they can share these tips with other people in their lives about how to overcome those troubles when you are leaving those toxic relationships? Would you like to share anything?
I would say reach out to helplines from organizations that specialize in helping you get out physically from the relationship. Inform yourself. It may not be the time to act yet because you need to gather the children and your personal IDs, for example. Um, Especially if you're foreign, I've heard of stories of partners just hiding those documentations. You no longer having your own bank account. Your partner tracking down your activity on social media. So there are ways to do anonymous searches to reach out for help. And you can join the Facebook group from Heal Scars already and get a feel about what's there, because Heal Scars is all about showing you that it is possible. It is very hard to take that step to gradually come out of that relationship, and it's a process. It's often not something that happens overnight. If it happens overnight, you are sent to a shelter, and then the shelter hopefully refers you to Heal Scars, but you can already contact us directly.
I love that. It's about communication, something what actually you do, right? Communications. So that's what obviously speaks to your heart. But yeah, it's about verbalizing, it's about speaking out, it's about being out loud about what happens. And myself personally, I went through abuse as well, and I know exactly how it feels when you feel like you're ashamed to talk about that. And especially the more successful you become, the more ashamed you are, because you think, well, that could happen to anybody else, but not to me, right? Anybody else, but not myself. So I must say, there's no such a thing as being proud. There's no such a thing as being too ashamed. Your life, well, it's only one, right? There's only one life. This is not rehearsal. There's only one life which you have. So your life must be outstanding. Your life must be remarkable. And if your life right now is not the way you want it to be, then something is wrong. So just like Lucie said, go reach out to organizations, speak to people, verbalize what happens with you. If you're not sure, go and ask. And I have this rule actually, which I do like to stick to. If something doesn't feel right, most likely it is not right. And I think here, if you're in relationships and something doesn't feel right, doesn't matter for how long you're together. I don't care for how long you're together. You can change things. You can. You are in charge of your own life. And what about you, Maggie? Any tips from your side how actually victims from abusive relationships could actually start overcoming that trauma, overcoming that, that damage, emotional, physical, whatever else it was, in order to at least start rebuilding their lives?
I think the main thing is identifying that there is something going on that's not right, as you say. Once you identify and once you accept, I think the biggest thing for a lot of people is acceptance, accepting that something isn't right, that something's going on. And as you say, your gut instinct tells you a lot, and go with your guts, trust in, how you're feeling. If you feel that something just isn't quite right, reach out, definitely reach out. I mean, Healed Scars is there, absolutely 100,000%. And it's very difficult, as you say, for people. They have no contact through phones. They've got limited access through, social media and things like that. That can be a bit difficult for them as well. But reaching out to somebody, it doesn't matter who it is, but reaching out and identifying to somebody that you need that help, because that support is there. The support is all around you. It's just knowing where that support is, isn't it? I think that's important, that people know it's easy to access. And as Lucie already said, it's quicker access through Healed Scars as well, because that support is right there. It's ready and waiting to help people, whether it is that initial first contact or whether it's helping people rebuild, who have left that relationship or left that circumstance and are trying to rebuild, as you say. That vulnerability, I can never say that word, vulnerability and shame are nothing to be ashamed of. They are two really good superpowers that we can use in a confident and powerful way to help move these women forward. So there's nothing to be ashamed of at all.
I love that. This is so beautiful. There's no shame. There's only empowerment when actually you speak out, when you share what happened to you, because then you can improve your life. That is really, really powerful. Well, I must say, ladies, it's remarkable to listen to what you're saying about the organization itself. I strongly believe in Evelina's journey. And once more, if somebody hasn't seen her in my interview, which we did last Friday, then you can find out more on YouTube, because we did an interview last Friday, and I'm sure you will enjoy watching that, because there Evelina is completely vulnerable, she's completely transparent, she's very honest. And knowing Evelina for many, many years, I must say, I know how not easy for her it was to do this journey, to be on this journey, because she is a strong woman, she is a successful woman. So those who right now who are thinking, yes, but I have a position, but I have sort of level or whatever, it doesn't matter. It can happen to you as well. It can happen to absolutely anyone, not just women, but also men. And after working with so many couples as well, people don't even realize, as we said in the beginning, that actually they are going through abusive relationships. So I would like to ask everybody who is watching us right now, please make sure you share this video so more and more people can actually learn not only about the signs and symptoms of abusive relationships, which we were covering just earlier on in this interview, but also listening to these tips from real people who are involved within this organization how actually you can start rebuilding your life. And as you can see, it's not that complicated. It's not a rocket science. It's actually about being open and being honest. But ladies, you'll be pleased to hear that actually we went international today. We have people watching us today from India and Dubai and Palestine and UK and Australia, which I think is quite remarkable because, again, let's remember, it doesn't happen at one country only. Unfortunately, domestic abuse is something that happens around the world. And only with raising awareness, only by helping those who are suffering from domestic abuse, by letting them know where they can go, we can help them to be healed. And also, we can help those who are abusers as well. And that's actually my question to you, ladies. Do you believe that those abusers who were abusing those victims, do you think they were born that way? Or do you think something happened to them that they became that way? That's my question to you. And Maggie, what do you think about this? Is there any chance they can also be healed from being abusers?
That's quite a difficult question, you know, being from one who has been abused herself. You take on different points of view of to how you respond to your abuser. But a lot of women, and taking it not from, you know, as me as a child, but women love these people. You know, they love their partners no matter what it is they're doing. They love, they trust them, they believe that they are doing the right thing for them, when obviously it's not. But I believe everybody deserves to be healed, and for whatever reason these people do these things, they have their reasons, and if they want to be healed, they themselves can find that help. But yeah, everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves, but at the end of the day, it's the women that are being affected that we are concentrating on solely, not their abusers. It's the women, and getting them their confidence and empowering them again. And that's my own personal approach to it.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you completely. Yes, and I agree with you. It's about not really right now. Let's help abusers, but let's help those victims, right? Because for abusers, they have to want that change. We can't force them. But Lucie, what do you think about these? Do you think these people can change? Do you think they were born this way? Do you think they have any chance, or do we need to just write them off and treat them like a scam and just like never even mention their name? What's your take on that?
Well, I believe that there are several profiles of abusers. Some have experienced abuse themselves. They don't know any better, and some patterns, some parental patterns repeat themselves. But others have personality disorders. There are quite a few narcissists who are extremely controlling and often end up being abusive. And therapy is very difficult for people with this profile, but they just keep pushing on, despite the interest for their children or their spouses. So it's very delicate, and unless they themselves start taking that step and realize what they're doing, often they don't admit it, and they don't want to lose that control. So they often don't want to go to a couple therapy, or when they are so charismatic and so charming that they charm sometimes the governmental counselors for a few months, and the abuse partner is not believed in the beginning. So it's very tricky because it's all about dominance and control. So I hope that there are abusers who were abused themselves who will take that step and go for therapy and family therapy if children are involved. But often this is their one source of power in life. They're not necessarily successful somewhere else, and they just pick on people around them. So I'm glad that Heal Scars can help the female women who went through trauma and who went through abuse, but it's outside of the scope of the organization to help the abusers.
I hear you. I hear you, girl. Absolutely hear you. And I completely agree with you. You know, I couldn't agree less. It is about those who were victims of abuse because again, they got into that situation. But again, I would like to highlight what you said there. It's about the personal choice. They must want to change. However, sometimes they so enjoy the process because for them it is about the power. So therefore, it's quite easy sometimes to mistaken them for somebody who is, as you mentioned, super charming, super wonderful, super amazing person. And you really fall for that. You really do. And I've been there before myself. You fall, right? You fall because you think, oh my God, I never met a person like that. You get flattered thinking, Jesus. And then only it reveals what was all behind it all, right? So, yes, I totally agree with you. This organization is not about helping those who are abusers. This organization is to help those who are actually victims of abuse. But you know, ladies, my whole respect goes to you for giving them the chance. What I really love about you, that you're not having this angry attitude of, no, we have to kill them, no, they're scum, no, we can't even mention their names. I really, really appreciate that you still have that warmth in your heart, and you still have that almost like believe and trust that people still can have another chance if they choose to, right? Let's not forget that powerful if. But yes, again, once more, if you have been a victim, or if you know somebody else who was a victim and right now is going through these type of relationships, please make sure you do share this video with them, right? As we mentioned earlier on, sometimes you don't even know. And just like those abusers, because maybe they were abused before, just like Lucy, what you said, right? They might witness that, right? And if they witness that, they think this is normal behavior. So if a dad was abusing a mom, a boy grows up and he thinks this is normal. This is exactly how you treat your woman. So he knows nothing else, right? So maybe you know somebody, your friend, your family member, your acquaintance that is going through challenging times. Make sure you share this video with them. Make sure you actually get the calendar. The link is just right now at the bottom of the video, so you can support those who actually were victims and still are of abusive relationships. Because again, let's remember, we might be all separated right now in the world, but we are together when it comes to supporting each other. It doesn't have to be done face to face, right? Beautiful part of Heal Scars actually is that you can work remotely with them, right? And this is the most amazing part, is not only in Scotland, because you ladies are based in Scotland, right? It's actually across the UK. And I really hope, and I cross my fingers, that maybe we can make this work around the globe, because I think that would be huge change in that case. Well, ladies, I cannot thank you enough for giving up your time, for giving your support to this amazing organization. It really speaks to my heart. I really appreciate your involvement, and I really appreciate you helping Evelina, who is my dear friend, with this amazing mission in her life. So would you like to share anything else before we just finish off? Maggie, maybe you would like to share a few words to the audience from yourself.
I would just like to say thank you so much to yourself, Olga, for giving us this opportunity to, get our word and our mission out there to the world, not just, the UK, not just Scotland, not just Stirling, but to everybody that's around and about. And if there's anybody out there at all that needs a little bit of guidance, or somebody, as you say, that needs that little bit of support, then as you can see, our contact details are there. So just reach out. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel guilty. Just reach out. The help is there for you. Let's rebuild these women's lives and get them back to where they should be.
How beautiful is that? Thank you so much. I really appreciate these beautiful words. And Lucy, how about yourself? Would you like to share a few words before we finish off?
Yes, if you suspect that a relative or a good friend is suffering from abuse, but they no longer contact you because they've been under the influence of their toxic partner, please do not give up on them. You might get a phone call from them, or they might rush to you one day, really needing your help. And this is not about them no longer being your friend. This is them being under something that they don't realize, or if they realize they're so trapped financially, or related to the immigration status, or their children, or the threat from others. Please don't give up on your friend. If they reach out to you, or try and reach out to them again, close to the holidays, just to check on them, how they're doing. At Heal Scouts, we have on our calendar, but among the team, the volunteers and the service providers, we have people who went through this and understand and relate, and they are now in a happier, much happier place. Sometimes they're even successful professionally again, and their children are growing in a much happier life. So it's possible. It takes time, and takes step to reach out and find the right help. But Heal Scars is there.
Thank you, thank you, thank you once more, because your words, ladies, are definitely going right into my heart, into my soul, and I'm sure today you touch so many souls and so many hearts. We need to raise awareness about this subject. We need to help more victims who are still suffering without even knowing that. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate everyone who was staying with us until the very, very end. And I would like to ask for one little favor from those who are watching us right now. Please share it at least once. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything, it doesn't harm you, it doesn't make a big difference maybe to your life, but it will make a huge difference to somebody else's life. Remember, the power is in togetherness. We might be separated right now, but if we get together, we can make a huge change in the world. So thank you so much, everybody who was with us today. It was a pleasure to have you. And ladies, my special thanks for you showing up today, for you sharing your wisdom, your expertise, and your experience with us as well. I'm sure there's so much more to learn about yourself, and that's why I was sharing the links to your profiles so people can learn more about yourself, and also to the calendar where they can find out more about you, Maggie, and also Lucy, to your social media so they can learn more about yourself. But I'm sure on the Heels Card website there's more information about all who are involved within Heal Scars. So thank you so much once more from the bottom of my heart. I'll wish you a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon.